Hi everybody and welcome back again to Mountain Aquatics. So you're joining us on a project today. We're in the Welsh countryside up on a mountain and we're going to build a Blagdon preformed pond in this one. A little bit different to the line of stuff that we do. Now this garden is full of trees everywhere. We picked the best spot that we can along with the customer where they're happy to put the pond. And stick around, we'll talk you through it, how you fit one of these preformed ponds, and we'll go through the process step by step. So when setting up a pond, you do need to take in consideration a lot of factors, and you need to think long and hard about where you're going to site the pond. So sometimes this wouldn't be ideal next to some trees and stuff. Obviously, the reason we picked this is these trees are quite well established. They're not going to be sending out any new roots. They've already found their way. So it's right next to the path here where the customer comes up the garden, and it's also ideally suited where we can get the electrics from the shed. So there's already electrics there, and we'll come off the shed, we'll run it along this building, we'll go underneath the path, and then we will have a switch box, probably a Blagdon switch box over here for the pond and all the features on the pond. That's why we've gone for this area.
So this is the pond of choice. It is a preformed pond, as you can see, and it's made by Blagdon. It's the Damselfly 1250. Like you said, Damselflies come in various different sizes and literages, but as Jamie's shown you on the area we had over there, this just fits perfectly. The dimensions, the incorporated shelves that you've got for planting and marginals. Really good pond. We're going to be using this end for the slate waterfall, and once we've got it on top of where it's going, you'll see straight away how perfect it is of a fit. In an ideal world, we could have used this location here, but the customers paid quite a lot of money for their turf, so I don't think they wanted that ripping up. But no, the area we've got is not terrible, as Jamie's explained. There is a slight overhang from a nearby bush, but you can't win with every situation. And also as well, that will provide a bit of shade to ensure that the pond is not constantly in direct sunlight.
Ryan's going around the pond now with some line marking paint. He's just going to mark the overall area we're going to start digging. Obviously the shelves and stuff, but this will just give us a shape to start with. We will over dig anyway, so we won't be following this line religiously, because we need to do some backfilling and stuff as we fill up the pond. But this just gives us a rough area to start digging. It means we can move the pond out the way for now. It doesn't get in our way while we're working, and we've got something to refer to. Oh, another perfect thing about this location where we're digging is the free snacks on site. They just keep you going while you're digging. Lovely. One problem we've encountered with this job is this big old tree stump. Now we're trying to dig around it. Luckily this is going to be the shallow end, which has got one of the marginal shells for the pond, so we don't need to go too deep, but we do need to get the majority of this stump out. So we'll carry on digging, carry on breaking branches and roots, and we'll get there. Now, as you can see, we're almost now at the level that we need to be to start putting in the Blagdon pond. It's been a lot of hard work. So this is sort of the deepest area of the pond now. You've got the higher bits over here. Now here shortly we will be adding probably about 2 inches of sand. We've got some bags of sand with us, which will then lay the rigid liner on, and then we'll start backfilling, and soon it will start taking shape. As you can see, as usual, it's me doing all the work. Most of the hard work's done now, so the customer's brought us a cup of tea. Cheers.
So guys, here we have the products that we're going to be using in this pond. As you can see, we've got the pump, which is the Amphibious IQ 3000 to 6000. We've got the Clean Pod machine 10,000. We've got the Pond Oxygenator Kit. We've got a Blagdon 4-way switchbox, which will be supplying the power to all these products. We'll show you an install of that a little bit later on. And we've also got the 5 Enhance LED light set. So one thing we actually like about this Blagdon set is that they're all identifiable via the size of your pond. Now that's not only the water volume but also your stocking levels. So on the website they've got quite a clever chart that kind of, depending on how deep your pond is, how much sunlight it's exposed to, and your stocking levels, you can determine what level of filtration you need for your pond. And it's categorized quite clever with this color system that we've got on top here. And as you can see on these products, it actually says medium pond on them all. So that makes it really easy to pair up, let's say the Amphibious IQ with the Clean Pond machine with the Oxygenator. So just to have a clear color coded kind of system, if you will, makes it really easy as a customer to kind of identify what filter will match what pump. Now we've gone slightly above what we need for this pond in regards to filtration, purely because it's going to be in quite a bit of sunlight, and also as well we're running a waterfall. So what we're going to be doing is running the Amphibious IQ out of the pond into the Clean Pod machine, and then we're going to create like a cascade out of slate. So one really good feature is why we went for the Amphibious IQ was its variable flow control. So if you have a look here, we can actually adjust the flow rate from 3,000 litres per hour to 6,000 litres per hour, and that does it by adjusting the wattage. So also as well, they're very energy efficient. So rather than you having a 6,000 litre pump running at 35 watts, you've got the tolerance to be able to reduce that and adjust that to suit your needs. So not only is it good in regards to your electric consumption, but also for this type of project where you're creating like a waterfall, it's very difficult to determine what type of flow you'll need to that looks the best. So to have that option where we can just adjust it and then kind of use our eye to determine what's best is brilliant. And if we go up now to the enhanced lighting set, we'll have a quick better look at this when it's out. But one thing we wanted to mention is it also includes the coloured lenses. So you've got blue, pink and yellow. So we're going to have some of these actually in the pond as per the diagram, and we're also going to have some around the sides, around the, to set the atmosphere of the pond. So that's something we're also looking forward to showing you. So yeah, that's the equipment that we're going to be installing. Now let's go back to Jamie, who's backfilling the pond.
Okay, so as you can see, things are starting to take shape with this pond. Now, we're putting some of these larger slate around it, as we spoke about earlier, but one thing that's quite important is not to use just big slabs and all the same size. If you want it to look natural in the wild, it wouldn't be like that, it's too uniform. So we brought some smaller slate chippings, a few bags of those which we're going to scatter around. We're going to mix it up a bit. I'm going to bring some, go around the garden, maybe break up some slate and get some smaller pieces in between. I'll have a good play with this. We'll build the waterfall here, which I'm going to start on now, and then tie that in. But yeah, it's all about making it look natural, making it look like it's always been here. We don't want it to look like a liner in the ground. We want it to look like it's meant to be part of this garden.
So, as Jamie's sorting out the slate and the water cascade going into the pond, I've been busy running this 2.5mm steel wide armoured cable that we've ran from the shed that Jamie pointed out at the start of the video up alongside the edging of the garden, and then what we've done is we've dug it underground all the way to this point here. Now this is the ground spike we're going to be using to mount the switchbox on. Trying to hide it amongst the trees and the bushes because they have got little LED lights on them, and we don't want to kind of distract from the effect. So what we're going to do is I'm going to drive this spike into the ground, make sure it's nice and firm and secure. I'm going to terminate this SWA using a 20mm exterior gland. That then will go up into the switchbox and then it'll all be connected. So I just wanted to show you guys the clean pod machine. Got it out of the box now. This is the filter media that is included with the filter. And what happens is when you turn this lever, these two yellow prongs, if you will, rotate to agitate the media, and then you can turn the flow onto a waste pipe to get rid of everything that is kind of loosened up from the media. Also as well, there's a gap at the top to be able to insert the clean pond pods, which basically help combat things like blanket weed, sludge, but also as well reduces the amount of work that the filter actually has to do. This is the controller for it, and then obviously the wiring which we're going to connect to the Blagdon switchbox. So yeah, really good piece of kit. So that's it now back together. The intake from the pump goes in here, in through the UV system that's built into the filter. We'll then go through the media and back out this way. It's really as simple as just turning this handle to agitate the media to then direct the flow out of the waste pipe. Really simple and easy filtration system, and these clean pods are just an added bonus. To be able to drop treatment into your water course as simple as this is an ingenious idea in my opinion. So here we have the pump that we're using. It's an Amphibious IQ. As you can see, it's got the connector for your hose at the top here. Also the surrounding cage. Now this can be taken off, and if you just have a look in there, there is a threaded connector, so this pump can also be dry mounted. The cable comes from the pump. As you can see, lots of cable, lots of length. into the Amphibious IQ controller. Now this is the clever part. This is the part where you can stop and start the pump if you're cleaning out the filters or if you're doing any maintenance on the pond, but also you can increase and decrease the wattage, which as a result increases and decreases the flow of the pump. So in this case with the waterfall, this is perfect because it's going to give us the right amount of flow that we want, because like we said previously, it's very difficult to determine what flow rate you need based on a custom waterfall. So being able to have this control of the flow is really ideal for this project. And then again, we've got the connectors here, which I will be wiring up into the Blagdon Switchbox. Here is the Oxygenator Pond kit. As you can see, you have 4 outlets along with 4 sets of airline and 4 air stones. So what we're going to do is just spread these out amongst the pond just to be able to oxygenate the water, and then again at the same time we'll be connecting it up to the Blagdon Switchbox. We've got the enhanced lighting set here. I've got all the kit laid out in front of me. This is a transformer. This is what we will be wiring into the switch box, as like everything else. Then you've got these connectors that go off into these splitters, and then you can connect each light individually. I think we're going to have some around the pond, but also some in the pond underneath the waterfall to kind of add a bit of effect. You do get 3 lenses with the kit. You can purchase more separately, but I'm not sure if we're going to use these. We'll speak to the customer and see what they want. What I'm going to do now is just put the last bracket onto the light. As you can see, I've done it with the other 4 there. So this is the light here. All you do is slide that over the top like that, and then you've got these 2 green threaded bolts, if you will, nuts that go on either side and tighten down. And then what you're able to do is adjust the angle of the direction of the light, whether that be it sat down in one of these bases or one of the provided ground spikes. As you can see, we're refilling the pond now. We've got the pond vac on it and removed most of the debris that went into the pond whilst we were building it. The airlines we've left them as they are for now, like that, because the customer is going to replace the green airlines with a clear airline. That's why we've only put the 1 in for now. The customer's got the other 3, which he'll just connect to the oxygenator that we've installed. Now that it's refilling, we're going to add the Blagdon Fresh Start, which will remove all the chlorine, harmful metals that's in the water, but also as well adds aloe vera, which will help with the fish health in a few weeks' time when fish are added to this pond. So the pond is 1,250 litres, so let's put enough treatment in to treat the water. What I'm doing here is I'm just adding it near the pump, so then when we turn the pump on in a second and it comes down the waterfall, it'll help mix the chemical in. So this is the setup we've got in regards to the Blagdon Switchbox. So as you can see, we've got a green light, which means we've got power, and then you can individually turn off each button. As you see, the lights coming on and off in the background there, We've labelled them, so the UVC is the clean pod machine, the pump one is the Amphibious IQ, the air pump is the Oxygenator, and the lights is obviously the enhanced light system. And then on the side here we've got the controller for the Amphibious IQ. So you can increase the flow as easy as this, and as you can hear in the background, the waterfall has got more flow on it. That's a little bit aggressive for what we want. We want more of like a slow trickle, so we're going to put this right down to 17 watts, which also makes the pump more energy efficient. As you can see there, you've got the Oxygenator clean pod machine, and yeah, it's all coming together nicely.
As we're almost there now, we just need to finish off the finer details and some little finishing touches. So for instance, this fountain foam or waterfall foam, landscaping foam as it's sometimes called, it does spill out the gaps when you put it in. And obviously it's filled the holes, which is what we want it to do, because we want it to direct the water where we want it to be. But yeah, just when you're done, it can look a little bit unsightly, but just rough it down. Over time that'll settle in, it'll probably grow moss on it, that sort of stuff, and it'll look great. Okay everybody, that's it now for this pond for us, but the customer will carry on. They're going to add some plants this week which will mature the water up. They will add some fish maybe in a couple of weeks. All the plants will grow in. And yeah, if you want to see more ponds like this, more pond builds, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.